Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hollywood Persona Podcast. My name is Mitch, and I'm here with Ant, as always. How's it going, bud?
Hey, Mitch, doing good. Just got back from the Amazon researching spiders. Doing great.
You were in the Amazon with my mom right before she died researching spiders. I
Yes.
just actually, we're making fun of Madam Web, which we're going to review later. And I watched a couple interviews with her because she's awkward but blunt at the same time, Dakota Johnson, and somebody
Yep.
brought that up to her and she got like defensive
Yeah,
almost.
she was
She's
like, why
like,
would that go viral?
yeah, she's like, I don't understand. It sounds like a
A
description.
normal sentence.
Yeah, and I'm like, I guess maybe it does, but like it's a
Right.
run-on sentence and it's weird to throw it in the trailer, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. If you just yes, I saw that video too, and if you just read the sentence to her, it doesn't sound that crazy. But
Right.
from the trailer, it was like overstuffed into one line.
And she doesn't want to make fun of it because she's the one who says it in the movie, so she's probably thinking like, well, I'm not gonna sit here and bash this, especially before the movie comes out. But now it has come out, and it has a whopping like 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. I've heard it's gone up to 15%, which makes it exactly equal with Morbius. Nope, it's 13%. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about Madam Web. And sorry, I keep closing tabs.
And the Oscar-nominated shorts. There's one that came out. Well, the shorts are in theaters this past weekend, and this coming weekend. The animated and live action documentary I haven't seen yet, but we both saw a couple of them, and there was one that we want to talk about called Red, White, and Blue. It's America. Yes. It's from America. It's a United States one. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Starring Brittany Snow. It's about 25 minutes. You can rent it on Vimeo right now for $1.99. Which is what I did.
Brittany Snow. Oh, good call. Yeah. I didn't even realize that was her.
Oh, really? Like,
yep.
I guess I probably would have known, especially near the end when she's like, you can really hear her accent kind of thing. And it's really coming through.
Man, I forgot all about that.
Yeah. Some podcast business. One, you can go over and subscribe to our Patreon. $5 a month really helps us out. We'll be doing stuff later on there. We don't have much up on there right now. I don't know if people want to listen up on there. Like if they have the Patreon app and they would rather listen to it on there, I can upload the episodes there as well. Please let me know. I just want to thank our new subscriber, Florence Bremer. She is my horror queen. I love her. So thank you.
Yeah, Florence. Thank you, Flo. It's so cool that you're a subscriber. I hope you hear this. I don't think we have ever talked directly, but of course I've heard your voice a million times from the show. And I always love when you're a guest on the Film Vault. So that's so cool. Well, hopefully one day we'll talk.
She's the sweetest. I've interviewed her now like twice, and we message back and forth about horror movies. She hasn't seen When Evil Lurks yet, which was on our list last year. So, well, probably because she can't rent a theater to see it right now. So she said she just got rid of Shudder. So, and then the other thing, last week we did our best movies of the year. We counted down our top 10. And then we did our honorable mentions. And neither of us mentioned Society of the Snow, which to me is a huge oversight. Could have been in my top 10, maybe, I think. But it should have at least come up in honorable mentions, I think, for both of us.
Definitely. We both loved this movie.
Yeah.
And we talked about it recently. It's just so weird how it fell through the cracks. Because, as soon as Mitch texted me and was like, we forgot Society of the Snow. And I'm like, no freaking way.
Yeah. It was.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
An odd one. I had to, because I was just, we both raved about that movie for like 3 weeks. I think we talked about it so much on the podcast, and then all of a sudden we forgot it. So, but some movie news. The BAFTAs were this weekend. Oppenheimer, which are the British Academy of Film and Television, so it's the British's version of the Oscars, kind of. Oppenheimer took home Best Film. Christopher Nolan took home Best Director. So that is 2 for Oppenheimer right there. And they also won a bunch more like visual effects, and
I think it won 7 total.
Yeah, they cleaned up. And Zone of Interest, which is a British film, won Best British Film and best film not in an English language.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to get that distinction because, the producer, so the money was British, the director was British, but then it was filmed with an all Polish cast, or mostly Polish, and filmed in Poland. But because it wasn't in the British language, but it was a British director, it can be for both awards. So it's funny that it got both. I bet it'll be a long time before we see that happen again.
Yeah, probably. And that's I'm going to talk about that later. That's one that will be coming to VOD at the end of this week. So if you missed it in theater, you can check that out. 20 Days in Mariupol won Best Documentary, and The Boy and the Heron won Best Animated Film. My prediction a while ago was that Maya Hayazaki, is that who? Hayazaki? No. Like Studio Ghibli?
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, that was my prediction, is that the Oscars will probably give it to The Boy and the Heron because it's like he says it's his last movie.
I think so, but I think there's a chance Godzilla -1 will get it.
Oh, I'm talking about animated. Best animated.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about effects.
No, sorry. The Boy and the Heron won Best Animated Film at the British BAFTAs.
I think
Cillian Murphy. Okay. Cillian Murphy won Best Actor for Oppenheimer. Emma Stone won Best Lead Actress. Robert Downey Jr. won Best Supporting Actor, and Divine Joy Randolph won Best Supporting Actress.
She has now racked up something like 50 wins.
Yeah, she's just
crushing it,
powering through these awards.
Yep.
Robert Downey Jr. had a really good speech. You can find it online. He talks about how, like, for 15 years he was, or whatever, 12 years he was Tony Stark, and then Christopher Nolan came in and gave him this role that kind of brought him back down to earth as an actor. And he talks about that and how appreciative he is.
Yeah, he also mentioned his British influences, which was cool. He talked about one of the Doctor Who people he followed. He kind of laid a timeline. Anthony Hopkins he mentioned. So he mentioned a few Brits over the years that he was really influenced by. And I thought that was good. I agree. It was a great speech. I watched a few of these videos.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, did you see? I don't think it's in this news, so I will mention it. Did you see, and listeners as well, if you haven't seen the speech that Michael J. Fox gave, it was really heartwarming. He got a standing ovation. It was awesome. It's just so good to see him.
He didn't win, but he
presented.
Yeah, picture, but his documentary still a Michael J. Fox story, which is a great one. Awesome. It's just hard to compete with 20 Days in Mariupol, which is devastatingly, horrifying. On to other news. Yorgos Lanthimos, the director of Poor Things, has revealed his next movie will be a remake of the South Korean comedy Save the Green Planet. It's based on a 2003 Korean film directed by Jung Joon-hwan. It's described as a dark comedy, and its plot focuses on a young man who captures and tortures a businessman who he believes to be part of an alien invasion. The film then devolves into a battle of wits between the young man, his girlfriend, the businessman, and a private detective. So, I mean, cool. I'm excited for anything he does, obviously, and maybe I'll go watch the South Korean 2003 film.
Yeah, I'm with you. Anything he touches, I want to check out. We'll see. Who knows? But maybe after. I might wait to see the original after I see his cut, so I don't get influenced by it. But it's an interesting thing to pull from. He must be passionate about it because this is random. I've never heard of it.
This is his first like remake, right?
Right. Yeah,
I know the Favorite was his first that he didn't write fully for himself.
Right. Yep. And all the other ones, Dogtooth, Alps, he wrote those himself. So
I haven't seen Alps yet. I gotta watch that.
Me neither.
Okay. So the cast for the next Fantastic Four movie has been revealed. It has been one of the hottest topics for like the last year or two. People always trying to guess who it will be. We had John Krasinski play what's his name? Reed Richards or Mr. Fantastic in the latest Doctor Strange. So people thought maybe they were going to go that way, but they're not. Pedro Pascal will play him instead, Mr. Fantastic or Reed Richards. Vanessa Kirby will be Sue Storm / the Invisible Woman. And we just saw her in Mission Impossible. Joseph Quinn will play her brother, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and Moss Bacharach will star as Ben Grimm or The Thing. Those other two names you might not know, but you will know their face. Joseph Quinn was just in... Oh, I should have had this up. Joseph Quinn. Yeah, he's from Stranger Things, Game of Thrones, and
Okay.
he's going to be in Gladiator 2 this year as well.
Okay.
So yeah. And then in other superhero... Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'm never too moved by casting, so we'll see. This could be fun, you know. We'll see. This is it, just because casting happens so far ahead of when we see the movie, right? So
yeah,
it's just we're so far away. So yeah, the last thing was you were gonna mention about Deadpool, right?
Well, and then I'll just say the other guy, sorry, who's playing the Thing, Eben Moss Bacharach. He was, I recognize him from Andor. He was in No Hard Feelings, and he's in The Bear. But I recognize him really well. Yeah. And then, so the trailer for the new Deadpool movie has been released, and it will be called Deadpool and Wolverine. We all kind of it was leaked about a year ago that Wolverine would be in the movie, played by Hugh Jackman again. You get glimpses of him in the trailer. So it's, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. My thoughts here are the Deadpool second movie wasn't as good as the first, but it was still pretty entertaining. But I'm not going to watch the trailer because, you know, I'm going to see the movie anyway. So I'm going to, try and hold off. I might see clips of it just from the work we do. But, yeah, we'll see. That's coming soon, right?
Yeah. I don't know when. Should have looked it up. Yeah, it's okay. The end of the summer, and I like the second one almost as much as the first one.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to it. So,
it was. I mean, it's good. The second one's good. I love the fake out with when we think we're getting all these superheroes and they fake us out. That was great. Great joke.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
All right,
so
and now
let's hope they can still keep their pointed sharp and make fun of Disney and everything now that it's under Fox is under Disney's umbrella. You know, hope they don't soften it. Let's just hope it's not Disneyfied because, you know, we've had this trend with these Marvel movies that have just kind of gotten boring and stale. So hopefully and Deadpool's always been different. So let's hope it stays that way.
It looks like it from the trailer.
Okay, good.
He even says something about the MCU in the trailer. You see some of the people from Loki, which you haven't watched.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be really interesting. Like, I think people are mad at him for, you know, breaking the fourth wall. So, like, they're coming after him. It looks like it'll be interesting.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, box office. What do you got?
All right. So this is the weekend ending the 19th. This is Monday the 19th. We're recording on these numbers go through Sunday though. And this is a kind of a weird week box office wise. It's actually studios' dream because they released it a day early for the Valentine's holiday, so that Wednesday, because, you know, movies come out Thursday for some reason now.
Right.
So Wednesday, and then it goes because today's President's Day in the United States, and what is it in Canada?
Family Day.
Family Day. Today's a holiday, so lots of people, including me, have it off. So this is you can really write articles about 6 days being your opening weekend when normally it's only 3. But here we go. So Bob Marley ended up and is doing really well. It debuted at number 1 with 27.7 million. And its total right now is 45.5 worldwide. I think that's what that number is. Yeah. Then Madam Web debuts in number 2 with 15.1, and including today's number 17. So it's going to finish the 6th day with under 20, which is just really bad. Really poor performance. Not a lot of people came to see it. I remember seeing something I'll bring this up on our review, demographics. Yeah. This skewed heavily male again. So just like the Marvels, we saw skewed male. So what I mean by that is out of theater polling shows that more than 50% of the attendees to this movie and the Marvels is male. So the studios might be making a mistake in not curtailing it to get enough women interested, or making it so enough men are interested in it as well. You know what I mean? Like,
or they've
either...
or they've just stopped making good movies.
Yeah, that could be. But I think that's a key you should look at, because even Wonder Woman, the original, that one had a 50-50 split. So directly half and half, which is what you want as a studio, right?
Yeah.
You want to hit all four, old, young, male, female. But yeah, this one was like 58% male. So still a good bit, but yeah, the majority that come to see these movies, comic book movies, are still men. So yeah, they either keep that in mind, or do something to get more women excited to come see them. Because if not, then they're going to make a movie for the women audience, and no women are going to come see it, or not as many. So anyway, so Madam Web, not a great opening in over 4,000 theaters. Huge opening. And it only made 15.1 million. It's really, really bad. Argyle is in its third week, and it made another 4.7. And then Migration is still in number 4 with 3.7. And actually, so 5 and 6 are neck and neck. I believe after today's numbers, Wonka is in the 5th spot.
Okay.
Above Chosen, that religious season episodes. So Wonka is actually the number 5 here. But that's about all that we need to see on here, except I do want to mention The Land of Bad. This is available for streaming or premium video on demand right now. I saw it last night. We're going to review it next week, and it's a decent one. It's got one of the Hemsworth, actually 2 Hemsworth brothers are in this movie, and Russell Crowe, and it's like one of your typical action movies that come and go. But this one actually has some decent tension. So Lisa Frankenstein, not doing well. That was at number 9. Its total's only 7.6. Cheap movie to make, but still not killing it at the box office. And so that's box office. That's all I think we need to put here. Do you have anything else you wanted to mention around box office?
A few things actually. So Anyone But You, I was just seeing some headlines today as I was looking up news, and Anything But You has now racked up $189 million worldwide. And they think it's going to crack 200 by the end of next week. And Wonka just crossed the 600 million.
I saw that.
Yeah. So,
then that's, actually, hold on, let me pause you. That Anyone But You, that's a good example there of a female demographic movie, and you can see how it has legs. I don't know the percentages. I'll look them up for that one, but there you go. That's a one that's like, it's a rom-com. It's targeted at women, and a lot of women did go to actually see it, and has made good money because of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you had one other thing you were going to mention.
Yeah, we both had movies added to our box office draft. You had Madam Web, which has $100 million budget. It's at 51 million worldwide, so you might make your budget back, maybe.
Okay.
And then I had Bob Marley One Love, which has a surprisingly high $70 million budget, but it's already made 80 million worldwide. So I'm at 199 million. You're at negative 212 million. So but Dune 2 will probably blow that out of the water next week. So as of now, I'm winning, and I'll take it. Anything else? Did you have anything else?
No, that's good for box office. Yeah. Next week. So I guess last thing to put a bumper on this. I will be fun to see how bad Madam Web drops, what its percentage drop will be. Especially with the 6-day week, you've got people that would have seen it, the day before, the day after opening weekend. So that's already happened. So it'll be interesting to see what its percentage drop is next week. And it's bad look for superhero movies, with it opening at number 2. It didn't even open to number 1. Most of the time, superhero movies at least open number 1, but this one got beat by Bob Marley, which also didn't even have good reviews. So and we'll probably review that one next week as well. I'm going to see it at least.
I'm going to see it. And Madam Web is the first superhero movie since the last Fantastic Four not to open at number 1.
That's right. Oh my God, that was like 2015, and that was a famous bomb movie.
Yeah. And next week it'll be interesting to see if Bob Marley could hold that number 1 spot. Because Drive Away Dolls is like the biggest one coming out. So it's a Coen brother movie, like not, but it's Ethan Coen, like the other one, just one of them. So it'll be interesting to see if it can knock it off or not. But I don't think it will. But we'll see. We'll see. So let's discuss the amazing, wonderful, best film of the year, Madam Web. Based on a Marvel comic
get into our reviews.
Yes.
Did you have a song bumper? Did I step on your song bumper for box office? Okay, because I was going to tell you, this is a side note. I didn't hear the intro one for some reason, but yeah. I heard it at the tail end. So just let me know if you hit any more drops, okay?
The drop thing's a little... I got to figure it out on here.
It's cool. I really like it, but I just don't want to talk over it in case you do it, you know?
No, that's okay.
But yeah, so let's review Madam Web. Do you want to set it up and describe who's in it and what's it about?
Yes. So it is a 2024 film, just came out this weekend, obviously. It is based on the Marvel Comics character named Madam Web. How do you say it? Madam?
I think it's Madam. I've heard people say Madam.
The film is directed by S.J. Clarkson. I guess I don't know what she's done. This is her first
feature
film.
Yeah, she's done some. She did a Game of Thrones episode. She did some other stuff, but it's kind of baffling. She picked this.
And she co-wrote this with the people behind Morbius. So I said in a tweet the other day, it's so weird how the people behind the people who saw, like, Sony saw Morbius and said to the writers, "Hey, can you write Madame Web for us?" Like,
right?
That's just such a bizarre.
Sony is such a weird, like, castle that's like ironclad that nobody knows what's going on inside. You know, they don't have their own streaming service, so that everything goes to Netflix. So they don't have a lot of exposure. So, you know, we just don't know what they're up to ever. And for them to release Morbius and this back to back with the same writers is just strange.
So strange.
Because you just got to think like you'd have logical sense and be like, all right, this didn't work. What should we try next? And they do kind of the exact same thing. Right? We need to pivot, and they stay sharp. They speed up down the same road.
Yes. So it stars Dakota Johnson as the titular Madame Web, alongside Sydney Sweeney, who we just saw in Anyone But You, Celeste O'Connor, Isabella Merced, Taylor Rahim, Mike Epps, Emma Roberts, and Adam Scott. In the film, Cassie Webb confronts her past. She's trying to figure out what happened with her mom. Like, her mom doesn't like her mom died, and she doesn't understand. And she all of a sudden, she's a paramedic with Adam Scott, who plays Ben Parker, Uncle Ben, essentially a young version of him. And she, she's a paramedic, and one day she has a crazy shock by falling in the water, and then she realizes she has these powers where she can see into the future. I don't know, she can't really control them.
She can't control them. We don't really know how far into the future. Sometimes it's just a few seconds, sometimes it's more.
Honestly, it's a lot like all That's So Raven, where all of a sudden she'll just have like I can see into the future, and then it's like when she needs it.
Yeah,
and then
when the plot needs it.
Like, because at one point one of the girls throws something at her, and she's like, "See, you couldn't predict that." Yeah.
And they do the like, "Are you serious? Really? Ugh.
Really?" So she's basically tasked with trying to save these 3 girls, because the bad guy is trying to kill these 3 girls because he had a premonition, or keeps having a dream, that these 3 girls are going to kill him. I hope that made some sort of sense. But he keeps having this dream about these girls killing him, but in the dream they're in these costumes, which we don't see them in until the very end. We're gonna go pretty spoiler heavy.
Yeah.
Starting about now, we can both say we didn't like the movie.
No,
Before we
don't
get into
recommend it.
spoilers. So
It's almost so bad it's good territory, though. I think if you listeners, if you're gonna cut out here before we start spoiling, it's really it can be funny. I was laughing. I heard other people in my theater laughing at stuff that wasn't supposed to be laughed at. So
yeah,
take that with what it is. But yeah, I think we should spoil it and talk about the goofy stuff because there's so much in this movie that is terrible and laughable that I think it's worth talking about since it has such a bad box office. I see no problem spoiling it. We're not going to intentionally say like this is what happens, but we're going to talk about everything. Okay.
Essentially, I'm going to start with
like the ending is this, but So go ahead then.
Well, no, essentially, so this is spoilers now. I was just going to say, like, I don't really care about getting into spoilers because the stakes are so low here. Like, and maybe they are high because people's lives are at stake, but they're just so low. And it's like and let's just say the bad guy, his plan doesn't work. They all survive. It's a happy ending. Like, I mean, it just felt so formulaic and
cut up. It feels so edited to death because we jump from place to place with no transition scenes. She takes a trip to Peru, even though she's supposedly wanted by the police, and this is in 2003, which is 2 years after 9/11, and she's in New York City. Yet she just hops on a plane to Peru and back with no problem, and that's just like one of the minor things. And I want to say something too about the bad guy, Tahar Rahim. He was recently in that Napoleon movie as Napoleon's brother in one of the early on scenes.
Okay.
He was decent. So
he wasn't
they screwed him over here. No,
the ADR on him was the worst.
That's what I was. That was my big complaint. So yeah, tell me, did you notice the ADR after I told you about it?
Not probably. I had my expectations. Like I was so worried about the ADR because
because I told you.
What is ADR? We should maybe tell people what that is.
Automated dialogue replacement. So that's when you film a movie, and me and Mitch are walking from my house down to the car to go to the store in the movie, but we didn't mention that in the movie at all. So Mitch and I are just walking, and so we're watching the movie later during the editing process, and I'll say, "Hey, Mitch, hop on the mic and say, oh, hey, Aunt, when we get to the store, grab me a Gatorade." So then you won't see Mitch's mouth moving, but while we're walking, you'll hear talking over it. That's usually what ADR is used for. And it's necessary. Usually. Yeah.
Like, I think they did some of that, some of it is to replace someone who you can't really understand what they're saying, even if you can see their mouth moving. So they get that person to talk and match it up. And it looks like they did that with him. I don't know if it's because he has a heavy accent or something.
Oh, man, most of his lines are not him.
There's even part where he's leaning over a balcony and he's talking and you can see his lips and it's just so off. And I'm like, how do you let that go by?
That's what I'm saying. How did this get through editors, executives, producers, the director, everyone seeing this and say, that looks good, feels good to release into 4,000 theaters? Why is he having visions of these 3 girls killing him when it becomes Madame Web who kills him?
Yeah, he has no visions of her. He knew her mom.
He killed her mom
because he killed her mom. I don't know if you remember because they were in the Amazon researching spiders right before she died.
Yet his visions are of these 3 girls who, what we've seen, have never assembled or met each other yet. But somehow he's seeing them assembled as a group, and the costumes they're in look so goofy, like Halloween store kind of level. His was.
You mean like just what they're wearing, or the costumes at the end?
I mean the costumes at the end and in his vision even are kind of goofy and cheap looking. Again, kind of like Daredevil, Elektra, style. But that's just a minor thing. But what else?
We don't even get like an explanation as to why he is a Spider-Man too. All of a sudden, he's in a black suit like the Venom Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. So he looks like the Venom, like almost, but he's in a black suit all of a sudden, and he seems to be able to switch to that character in a second notice because
we see him wearing a suit, like a tuxedo, and then the next scene, and it covers his feet. So it's like, where was this suit?
And
we
the
never
cops
get an explanation
in those
of
scenes
anyone's powers.
No,
the
cops in those scenes are so like dumb. They keep trying to arrest Dakota Johnson's character, but they're like, they see the Spider-Man guy attacking people.
Right.
Like, so why would they go after her? And even the three other girls are like, no, she's fine. Like, it wasn't her. There was someone else. And they're like, no, we got to take this girl.
Yeah, there's an APB, like massive alert for Madam Web out there. And yet she's able to take an international flight to Peru, which, by the way, is a 10-hour, like a 6-hour flight. Peru is way in South America. It is far. And she goes into the jungle of Peru. We're talking about the rainforest, and finds, like within a second, her first day there, she finds the people she needs to find, the spider people. They remember her. It's like, do you know how big that rainforest is? How would she know
she's
exactly
back in like Yeah, she's back in like 24 days, like 24 hours.
She leaves the three girls. She leaves these three, quote, teenage girls who all look crazy, like 24, 25. Supposed to be like 17, 18. It's so ridiculous. With her coworker, Adam Scott, who, of course, again, Ben Parker, like, and the Spider-Man line of great power comes great responsibility. They remix that so it sounds so stupid. But really, the problem here, the main problem is, God, all of it. I mean, really, but it's the script. I mean, this script was chopped into pieces. And even Madam Web, like, Dakota Johnson, she's been catching a lot of strays from this because people saying she's a bad actor. She was really, really good in Suspiria. And she was pretty good in Battle Royale Hotel, or Bad Times at the El Royale Hotel, right? So we've seen her do good, but through this, she's just kind of like walking through this movie, monotone as hell. Anytime she's scared or excited, it's the same monotone. She kidnaps, or quote, kidnaps these three girls, and she's still talking the same monotone. Like, come on, guys, let me think.
The lines are just awful. And they over-explain things, and the way they have the most annoying things in the movie are the flashbacks and flash forwards, because it's just like a jumble of noise. It flash forwards, we see what could happen, it flashes back, and like the way they try to they think the audience is so dumb that they're not going to understand, so they, it's just this huge thing. She sees the future, and like one part, she's walking around her apartment, and she's for some reason watching It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah.
And she's like talking to Scrooge on the screen, like,
right,
come on, Scrooge, it's not gonna go that way. And then that's how it's a flashback, because then it flashes back and we hear her say it again. Like in the subway scene, she walks into the subway. She sits down across from, this younger black guy.
Yeah, he's just looking at his phone.
Yeah, and a subway goes by, and she looks up, and he looks up, and he's like, New York City's a whole new level of crazy these days. And I'm like, and nothing happened for this man to say that. And it bothered me so much, because then it kept rewinding, right? Because that was the moment, but we had to know that was the moment by him saying that. Yes. So he kept saying it, and it was just beat you over the head. It made
no sense. And to agree and give you an example of the point you just said, where it treats its audience like we're stupid. The example is, so I agree with you, and the example is when they're in her apartment, she's realizing she's already been through 2-3 things where she can predict the future. So this scene's not even needed. But Pigeon comes in,
of course,
smashes the window and dies. We flash back. She realizes, let me open the window. Pigeon comes in, flies around, and flies out. Perfect. End the scene. But no, we have to have dialogue of her saying, oh, wow, it didn't die. No shit. We all just saw it. We know. So yes, Mitch, I agree. It treats its audience stupid. There was no need for her to say that. We all saw the bird didn't die the second time. So yeah, that is a great criticism, and it's really annoying. I hate when movies treat me like I'm an idiot. I really do, and this one does it a lot.
One thing I did notice that is a pet peeve of yours. Lots of product placement for Pepsi.
Dude, oh my God. That was my
in
next
the final
note.
scene,
The end of this movie is done under a massive Pepsi Cola sign. The whole thing, the whole stage is set, and the final thing that kills or almost kills the villain is part of that sign falling down and hitting the villain. And oh my God, they're in an abandoned fireworks factory. That's from The Simpsons. And a firework blows a hole in the brick wall. What? A regular firework wouldn't put a hole through a brick wall. Then she somehow astral projects so she can be in 3 places at the same time. That power was never explained. She hit this thing with her car.
When I saw the astral projecting thing, I'm like, that's cool. Is she gonna like save all 3 of them at once because she's using all 3? She's using her powers to see the future for all 3, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's interesting. But then it's not really what happens. I was kind of confusing. That was like the only cool thing that I thought happened. The battle at the end was so anticlimactic. Not like, oh man, there was any climax anyways, but
no. And it's like, this movie isn't even really an action movie or comic book movie. Like, not much no action or comic book scenes happen, really. Yeah, there's a car crash, there's this fight, but there's no power. Like you said, there's this like few seconds where she does this astral projection to save, because one character's hanging on, one's about to get hit by something, one's about to fall off the building, and she somehow like slows time down and comes out of her body and floats away. And again, that could be fine. I can see why you would think that was kind of cool. But that was never explained. We never saw that before. I guess we kind of saw it when she fell into the water when she went to Peru. But again, it's like, you explain that the bird is alive, but you don't then explain what her powers are, what their limitations are. Because if they can do anything at any time, oh my God, just another thing. The girls are in hiding. Actually, let's back up. The bad guy almost kills them, so they steal a taxi cab, drive through the city. Somehow they are Mitch. They're like in the middle of Brooklyn, and then all of a sudden they're out in the woods somewhere. New York City doesn't have woods like that except for Central Park, and they're not in Central Park. They're just out in the woods where she can just drive a car into the woods. And so that happens. That's not even my complaint. Then she says, I gotta run home. Who knows? I gotta abandon you 3 18-year-olds in the woods by yourself with no food or shelter. But okay, gotta do something. Figure it out. Go home. So she goes home, and the girls are like, "What the fuck? We're stuck here. I'm hungry. Let's go. I saw this diner." So they're like, "All right,
we don't believe her. We don't believe her. We'll be fine."
So fine that I could even buy that they would be hungry and want to go to the diner. But would they? Then this is what they do. Would they then get on top of a table and start dancing in front of guys to be like, "Hey, sexy, what's up?" It's like, you're hiding from someone trying to kill you. Like, they would be having a low profile. Like, I get it that they're good looking and they're teenagers, and I could see the men there being like, "Hey, girl, what's up?" And I could see them saying, "Oh, hey, nice to meet y'all. Oh, here's my number. We'll talk." But like, Madam Web gets back to them, and they are literally like table dancing in this diner, which.
In a diner at like 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. In a diner where like there's nobody in. Like, if somebody got on the table and danced, I'd say, okay, well, that person has some serious mental issues.
Yeah, I'd be like, these people are super drunk or high. Like, what the fuck? So they call like the most attention they could to themselves.
Yeah, there was one point where I laughed on purpose. And it's the only funny part in the movie. She sees this guy and he says, "Am I on the right train?" And he says, "I don't know." And then later on, she goes on a different train and he's there and he sees her and he says to her again, "Hey, am I on the right train now?" And she's like, "I don't know." That actually made me laugh.
The line was, "When you take responsibility, great power will come." Just say the original line, or don't use it. Like, stop with
just say the original.
Yeah, just say with great, And another thing, she steals an ambulance. She steals an ambulance from someone at an emergency call. I understand her emergency is important, but she straight up steals. So this person that they're going into this house could be dead because of her neck. Like, she says, sorry. She steals an ambulance. She's an ambulance driver. She straight up gets in it and drives away. I
didn't even think about that.
And then when she takes that ambulance downtown, the bad guy jumps in front of it. She's like barreling down on him, like, I'm going to run you over. And if he had stayed where he was, she would have not hit him. But he literally jumps, and she then hits him. It's like, you jumped right into it. And she hit him with the taxi before, and he didn't die. So why the fuck is she trying to kill him again with the car?
Maybe if I hit him with enough vehicles, he will die.
He needs 3 hits with the car to die.
The way she bursts through that brick wall with the ambulance, and the ambulance is fine, like not a scratch on it, and the way it bursts through is like the way the Kool-Aid Man did in those old commercials around Family Guy.
Oh yeah,
it was just and then the fireworks did the exact same thing, like a perfect hole for them to get through.
Dude, like they light a bottle rocket goes off and puts a massive like 6-person hole through a brick wall. It's so stupid. So stupid. And they're constantly dumping exposition. Every character is explaining the movie. The bad guy is to get access to this technology, he purposely like seduces a CIA worker, which I don't even know if they had the tech at that time to do what he ends up doing with it. He's killing her with poison after he sleeps with her, and he's like, I can stop it, but just give me your password. It's like, you gotta know he's gonna kill you. Come on.
Does he? Does he kill her?
He ends up killing her.
The one who's behind the computer the whole time?
No, sorry, not her. The one he took the password from.
Oh, okay, yeah, at the beginning. I remember now.
He says to her,
honestly, this movie. Sorry.
No, yeah, he says to her, if you give me the password, I can stop injecting it. And again, how is he doing this? He's just touching them with his hand, and they're somehow getting skin-to-skin spider venom. And then again, it's not explained at all. And so he kills her. Who knows how he gets rid of the body? And then if he hates women, why does he have a women assistant? Why isn't he doing the tracking? He can just switch into his suit in a millisecond. His suit looks like rubber tires. It's so goofy looking. Even Morbius had some cool effects, kind of, with the fangs and his cheekbones would sink in and stuff in his ears. There was something in Morbius, but this is just some stunt person in a dark green, rubber-looking suit that was just terrible. And his motivations are so unclear. Why is he having visions of these 3 women? And again, the trailer markets like, hey, look, it's going to be all these Spider-Women characters. Nope. They're in a dream sequence, and they are shown just briefly at the end. Like, now we should team up to fight crime. So it's really deceptive marketing. They totally lied with the trailer.
Yeah. I will say, actually, above all of this, the worst thing for me, and this falls into script problems and dialogue issues, but the dialogue and the way these young girls talk to each other, they are so like nails on a chalkboard irritating. Like, they're catty and bitching at each other the whole time. Like women shouldn't be portrayed like this. They
don't
just
have to be. Exactly.
They just meet.
You make a good point.
They just meet, and these 3 girls just hate each other for no fucking reason.
Right. And not every teenager is that way. You make a great point. I thought about this later. Because the way we see teenagers in movies is often like this. Bitchy, catty, they know they're hot. They can be, just a bitch, mean, rude, snarky, impulsive. And, Madam Web's like, you need to stop being so impulsive. You're a teenager. I've met plenty of young kids and teenagers, and I've known plenty, of course, in our years growing up, that are just fine, normal, nice people that are kids that'll say, yes, sir, sorry, sir, no, ma'am. So yes, it's possible that these would be this way, but you're right. It was really silly. It's like, she just saved you from something. She said she doesn't know why. Like, she's done enough to prove that something is going on here. These 3 girls saw this guy coming to kill them, and they're still like, I don't know if I believe her. Like, what are we doing? Where's my snacks? And of course it's like one has a rich dad, one's an orphan, one's dad was deported. Like, because there's never anybody with 2 parents in these movies. And, these are small nitpicks, but on top of everything else, it just makes it all worse. It just makes it all so much worse. So, I laughed a lot at this. I thought it was really, really stupid. And I kind of like really looking forward to when it comes out on video on demand for one of those like YouTubers that takes apart bad movies to like just dissect this into a million pieces.
Yes.
And you can just tell they just don't care. They just didn't care about this movie, these characters.
No one
cared. Actors
cared.
don't care from the interviews. You told me that after this trailer came out, Dakota Johnson switched to a different agent. So that's interesting timing. And on the circuit of interviews, and I think I even saw a quote that she said she hadn't watched the movie yet. Like at the premiere, she didn't even stay to watch the movie. Yeah. So man, this sucked so bad. And let's compare it. So let me ask you this. If I came over for the weekend and we were going to watch a movie and I said, all right, we got to watch Morbius or Madam Web, which one would you watch
Morbius
first? I think so too. Because at least stuff happens.
Yeah, like I think Morbius is a 1.5 star, maybe like 1 star, 1.5. And this is a 0.5 star for me. I could understand if it was just you and I, we wanted to watch something actually kind of entertaining, I would put on Morbius out of the 2. But if it was a group of people and we just wanted to tear it apart, like maybe Madam Web. Yeah.
Good call. Yep, I give this 1 star. Really should probably be a 0.5 star. I can't think of anything. Actually, I kind of liked Adam Scott. He was fine.
He was fine. I mean,
he was fine.
Like honestly, it's so bad that I can remember like the 3 or 4 things that I liked. That one joke I said. Yep. I actually liked when they used the CPR paddles on the roof to of the ambulance. I thought that was kind of cool. That was a decent thing. That astral projection thing. I don't think, nothing really else. Oh, and that's the one other thing I wanted to say. How much, if you could have bet money on something that was going to happen later in the movie, when they, when she taught them all CPR, you knew, like, it was so obvious that they were going to have to use that later on her or someone else. I would have bet $1 million.
Yeah, that was pretty obvious. Obvious. And I learned CPR in 9th grade. These girls would know CPR. Like you get taught that in school in health class.
Yeah.
I think every year. Actually, I think every year health class we had to do it. Like
really? Wow.
I'm pretty sure. I think like at least 8th grade. I know I did it. 9th grade for sure. Like they would know CPR. And if it's fine, like maybe they wouldn't remember it, and she'd have to teach them how where exactly to push and for how long. But oh god, it was just so bad, so bad. The costumes are so bad, and she's wearing these crazy mom jeans in that scene that are just like so mom jeans from the 2003. So that was one thing where I was like, well, that's period detail. She looks like
Britney
Jessica
Spears.
Jones. She's wearing yeah. They have the 2003 music in here. She's wearing that leather like reddish jacket. She looks just like Jessica Jones. Like I'm like, how do you not see this resemblance? She looks just like her.
I never watched.
I haven't seen that show. I didn't either, but I know of the character. She looks just like Dakota Johnson.
But then at the end, and this is like probably the only spoiler I would say, at the end she's all of a sudden Professor X from X-Men.
Yeah, explain what happens.
So she gets a firework to the face, and I don't even know how she becomes paralyzed. I think she just because she falls, but she's paralyzed she's already, and blind and now. Blind. And now she can see even better into the future. And we know this because the girls come to her place and she's like, Cassie, put that, don't touch that. And she's like, how'd you know I was going to touch that? And it's like, and she's like in this abandoned place and she looks so stupid in that chair and she turns around and she's blind. Yeah. And I was just like, this is like the ending was bad. Oh man.
Yeah, oh, man. It's really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
And the villain, like, he can be run over and smashed with cars and doesn't die, but then somehow dies from the Pepsi S sign.
So bland, so forgettable.
It's really, really bad and boring. Yeah. This movie sucks. It's really shitty. So I give it 1 star. I'm probably going to lower it to a half a star. It's not good.
Let's stop talking about it. I mean, we talked about it for like half an hour, but
I know,
sometimes
right?
bad movies are just fun to just shit on because, especially when we put like almost 2 hours of our time into it, it's like, well, that's unfair.
All right, so the next one we're going to review is, I'll set this one up, Mitch.
Yeah, okay.
We mentioned it at the beginning. It is a short. It's nominated for Best Live Action Short for the 2024 Oscars. Mm-hmm. They show the shorts in a bundle or a package mostly. So most places you can go see these. So listeners, look on Fandango or whatever you use to look for movies. And right now in theaters, the live action ones are there. It's 5 about 20 minutes shorts. So it's about 2 hours like a normal movie. And then the animated ones, which is 7. And they range from like 5 to 8 minutes to 10 or 15 or 20. I've seen both. I don't have too much to say about those until maybe Mitch, you watched all of them as well. And then if you want to talk about one, but this one stuck out to me. So this one's called Red, White, and Blue. It is, like you said earlier, Brittany Snow starring, who we know from
Pitch Perfect.
She was Pitch Perfect, but she was also in X recently, that awesome horror movie.
Oh yeah, I loved her in that. She was fun.
Yeah, she was awesome in that. She was like the ditzy, like Southern Belle
porn star, yeah.
Porn star, yeah. So the story is this, and we have to spoil this to talk about it because I had a moment with this short.
So are you gonna spoil the twist then?
I have to. I eventually have to. Yeah. Okay. So I'll mention it before I spoil it. Okay.
Okay.
So just to set this up, it's a young mother. She's in Arkansas. She's working at a diner. She's forced to travel. This is in the description. Young mother from Arkansas is forced to travel across state line in search of an urgent and necessary abortion. And she's in the South, so you know that this probably has a message of some kind about abortion to it. And we see her as a waitress, and she's looking at a pregnancy test. Another woman is going into the bathroom and sees her looking at it, and there's no word. And like comparing to this Madam Web, they would explain what's going on in this. It's all done visually. We know that that other woman saw the test. You can see the look on Brittany Snow's face saying, oh, shit, what are we going to do? And that's the moment. That's all you need to know. So then later that woman comes in to try and offer her some help. And so I had a moment with this movie because, let me see. Yeah, I guess I'm going to say after this is spoiler. So it's only a 20-minute short. Go check it out.
Yeah, I'll just say it's on, like I said, it's on Vimeo. It's $1.99. I think it's worth watching. It hit me pretty hard.
Me too.
Whereas I'll just say the first 5 to 8 minutes, I was not sold.
Me too. But at first I'm like, what am I watching? Why is this supposed to be good?
This feels like Lifetime. And then, So anyway, so we'll get into spoilers now, but I do recommend going to see it.
Okay, so speaking of the first 8 minutes, I made a note. I take notes sometimes when I watch stuff.
Me too.
I made a note where I said, and I was talking to you, Mitch. Can I be insensitive here? This woman has 2 children and is struggling hard, right? Does she not have a choice? At least the third kid? I saw the pregnancy. I'm like, she's going to have a third kid. And I'm saying, I know all circumstances are different. We see her doing her budget in the kitchen. We see her steal the money from her kid's piggy bank. She's got 2 kids, and we see this pregnancy test. So I'm just like, I know we're supposed to feel bad, single mothers, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, bitch, you have 2 kids. What are you doing having a third? Like, I know the movie's making me want to feel bad for you, but some personal decision has to come into play. And I felt bad having this thought. Felt guilty. Felt, Aunt, that's fucked up. Why would you judge? You don't know the situation. But it's like, I'm like feeling like, damn, what are you doing? I could see, like, having 1 kid accidentally, I get. And, you have kids, so you can correct me in these statements. I don't. But, yeah, to have a second and now a third, and you're, like, struggling, and you work at a diner, I'm like, you're pretty irresponsible. So I don't feel too bad for you. In this short, it shows her get groped by this guy, and she does nothing about it because the manager's standing right there, and it's like, what a fucking asshole. He's like pissed at this guy.
I forgot about that, which means so much more now.
Right. So
because in my head, when that happened, I was like, why didn't she say something in front of her daughter to show that it's okay?
Yeah, the
But then,
manager was standing right there, and she needs that job bad,
Yeah.
But she should have said something, gotten the tapes, and gotten the guy or maybe not said anything. Go around the corner and call 911. Like, people report sexual assault, especially like that. A guy just sitting in a diner, there's blurred lines between if you're both out drinking and you do something. We don't have to get into that conversation. But in that situation we saw on screen, that's one. There's cameras there. You report that shit. You get that guy arrested and get something on his record, because that shouldn't be tolerated at all. But so then we learn more about this story, and I make another note to myself. Said, "Wow, look at me! Look at what I get for judging. I am a total asshole." And I'm really stupid because I didn't understand what was happening until she goes and hugs her daughter. So throughout the short, we see her dropping her son off with a friend, and she says, "Hey, girl, let's go on a road trip together." So she takes the little girl and her. They go get snacks. They get money from the patron who said, "Hey, do you need help?" So we find out the abortion is for the daughter. This daughter is born in like 2013. They tell us that's her birthday, so she's like 11 maybe at the most.
I'll just say I didn't know until the police scene.
Okay, good. Me too. I didn't get it. I'm like,
I don't think you were supposed to know until then.
But she gave the date. They're like, "What's the date of birth?" And she's like, November 2nd, 2013. That was before they show the rape. Or the rape scene.
Right, she says that, and then they go right to the scene.
Okay, yeah. So, and then she comes back and hugs the daughter.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, shit. And then I'm like, mad at myself for judging. So the reason I brought all this up was to tell you, this should be a lesson for me to not judge and not and try and for us to not. It should, because I didn't know everything going in. My original point still kind of stands about why would she have that second kid if she's working as a waitress? But again, I don't know her life. I don't know the details. But
you don't know where she was. Yeah,
right,
you don't know where she was when she had that second kid. Maybe her husband died. Maybe he ran off. Exactly. We don't know. Maybe she was raped herself. We don't know.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. I've always told myself my whole life is, sometimes that judgment is going to be the first thing you think, but it's what happens afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, if you're walking out and you're like, wow, that girl should not be wearing that. And like, that's like your first thought. And then it's like, you know what? That was a rude thing of me to think. Like, it's how you react afterwards, because
gotcha.
Judgments are like that. Sometimes they're just, unfortunately, they're the first thing that come to your mind. Exactly. And
I didn't mean to, but it just came to mind. Yeah. So in the end, the rest that I would just want to say was, this was great. It had a pretty profound impact on me.
Me too.
I live in a country that doesn't allow reproductive rights for women in all states. It's a patchwork of crazy different rules. I mean, even some states don't allow abortions for incest and rape cases, which is just insane. And I think Arkansas is one of them. So I think this short is very pointed in saying, hey, Arkansas, look at you. This case where this little girl, because mom was working, gets assaulted, and now she needs an abortion. She's 11. That poor girl. It was strong in impact. But I really wanted to bring it up just because I wanted to tell on myself for prejudging someone, being prejudiced, and I shouldn't have, and I feel a little guilty about it. But I appreciate you telling me, what I did. It's what you do after, and what I did after was realize what I did wrong, and I felt bad, and I do feel bad, because it would have maybe been irresponsible for her to have a third kid in this situation, but she wasn't. This was her daughter, and so what I want to know, Mitch, do you think the patron that helped her? Do you think that patron thought it was for her or for her daughter?
That's what I thought after. Sorry, this short. Oh, and it sucks to hear that you live in a place like that.
It sucks, man. It's really, really
doesn't
shitty.
Allow it.
And I have one of my best friends is very anti-abortion, and we argue every time we get together, because I've known him since we were 6 or 7. And he's just so against it, and I'm going to make him see this. I'm going to make him when we're together, he sometimes comes with me. I'm going to bring him to come see this because he's so he sees things so black and white, and things aren't black and white with pregnancy and abortion. So I want him to see this and say, Craig, what would you think in this case? Oh, I just called him out. I don't care. What would you think in this case?
I'm probably a little more emotional because I just saw it. I just watched it like 20 minutes before we started recording. What'd you ask me?
I asked you, do you think the patron? So a woman comes in, the woman that saw her with the test. Do you think that woman knew? Because we don't get too much information. Again, like she could have known because she seems to be one of her regular customers. So she could have shared with her and said, "Hey, my poor daughter." Well, and now we know why she has the kids with her at work, because the kids were at home, or at least the daughter was, because she's old enough to be left at home. She's 11, and someone broke in and assaulted her. Oh my God, it's so fucked up. It's like it just was like a gut punch. I was like, oh, and then I felt worse because of what I judged before. So, do you think she knew, or do you think she assumed the pregnancy was for her?
I thought of that exact same thing after, because I was thinking like this woman, it's a small town. So this kind of atrocity, which these sort of things make even like national news. So in a small town like that, this other woman,
news.
She might have known, and that might be why she was more willing to give up the $400 to $500 that she did. But either way, it really that was like the first thing that kind of touched me. I was like, well, that's sweet, but it still felt kind of like lifetimey, like almost like it's nice, but and then that gut punch, man.
Oh, and then they do some cool and nice girl things. And there's another small thing when they're leaving the state, because they have to travel to another state to have this abortion. And they go to this abortion clinic, and the clinic's overloaded because everybody from the surrounding states comes there because they don't like, get in line, take a line. And I love that scene between her and the abortion clinic
nurse.
Administrative nurse. She's like, hey, get in line. There's 1 million people. Then she tells the date, and she's like, her birthday's 2/1/2013, and the nurse is like, oh shit, notices she has her 11-year-old daughter, and she's like, let me see what I can do for you. So it was like, it was just it really hit me. It hit me hard. It made me appreciate the rights we have. It made me appreciate nurses and people that work in those clinics, because I know they get lots of shit. For my friend Craig that's anti-abortion, I just wish he would take into consideration cases like this. Situations are different for everyone. I know, because his belief is that it's a life and you're killing a person, and I don't want to argue that with him, because you can make that argument. I don't believe it, but you can make the argument, and But again, look at this case, man. How could you feel anything other than poor thing? We got to help people like this. Watching something like this. So,
in my opinion, like sometimes. Maybe we shouldn't be getting into it, but
I know it's a tough topic.
But I hate that the extreme has to be shown in order for women to have the care that they should have and the choice. You know what I mean? Like this situation in this movie is the extreme. Like
the worst that could happen.
This is the thing that you would say to make somebody who's against abortion try to, you know what I mean?
No, exactly. I'm right on the page with you.
Okay, so that's kind of what I thought of after. And actually, I was so shocked with this short that like I was so blown away by it that I didn't even cry until the very end when the brother used his tooth fairy money to give her a present, and I was like,
it's devastating.
Tears all of us. It was. What was it like seeing in the theater? Like, was there a lot of people? Was there
gasps? People were gasping.
I was going to say, were there gasps?
Yes, this was well attended. There was like probably 15 people there, maybe 20, which is a lot for the shorts. Not everyone goes to see the shorts. And a lot of younger people too. When I came in, I noticed they looked back. Maybe they were waiting for their friends. So I noticed a good row of like 22, 23, something like that. And you heard just lots of shock and gasp. And they end and they move on to the next one so quick. There's not too much time to like linger on one of them. But yeah, man, it was really, really intense. And I want to just take a moment to say I love the shorts. we never talk about
Me too.
shorts.
I know.
We think they should be moved to the technical awards, which they should, because nobody watches them. But
unfortunately,
they are often gut punch like this. It's a cool story that can't make a full movie, but they can squeeze it into 25 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah, very relevant. Usually they're relevant, or they're sweet, or that could be hard to pull into a full movie unless
this would
you
be
made
tough.
it into a
Like, think about this as a feature. This would be a Lifetime movie for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Like, you could see this. It would be hard to get this out to get everyone to see this because it's such a sad story.
And,
right. Like, a short is what's good for this. So, and then the documentary shorts are usually the best because they're real life. So I learned about like the Israel-Gaza stuff or Israel-Palestine stuff because of shorts, documentaries years ago before this new attack happened. I just showed, one of them was one side showing how they bully the other. And so when the attack happened, I'm like, oh, I remember that short. And now I could see why they would hate being treated this way. And I could see why a war could start from this. So, so I love this. I gave it 4 stars.
Me too.
This could be a separate conversation. I don't list every short I saw because it's a short. I feel like, and because since I see everything in theaters, it'll count as a theater watch. So when I'm adding up how many movies I watch in theaters, it'll look like I watched 5, but this was only 5 20-minute things. So I usually just log the best one of each chunk. So this is the one I logged.
Gotcha. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
because you can also do it on Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Because I think
because you can also do it on Letterboxd where you can just rate it and then it doesn't go it doesn't go in your diary if you just rate it.
Okay.
So like you've given it you've given it a rating, but it won't like count as a movie you watched that year or whatever.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm gonna do then. So so I gave it 4 stars. It's hard to give it a star. It could be a 5. I just want to see if I wrote anything else.
I think the reason I gave it only 4 is just because, the beginning feels a little, it takes a while to get there, but when it does, it really does. So
it definitely does. Because at the beginning, and that's why I had that like judgmental thought. Because I'm like, okay, what is this woman doing? Like, you have to steal from your kid's piggy bank, but you're considering having a third kid. I'm like, in my head, like, tisk tisk tisk, and little did I know, So cool. I'm glad you watched it. Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, this is how you canceled. All right, so that's all we were gonna review. You want to move on to what's coming?
Yeah, so I'll just go through. We got a lot of things coming are available to rent this week. So like rent or buy. All of Us Strangers, which I just saw, which we could still review since it's coming to VOD if you wanted.
We should.
Yeah, it's about I really enjoyed it. It's about a man and he's living in this apartment building. There's another guy, he's in a gay relationship.
Paul Mescal's in it. He's awesome.
Paul Mescal and this but the main guy, Adam Scott, his parents died young, and he is trying to get over that and trying to understand, and he kind of goes through it a different way, which is really interesting. And then Mean Girls on February 20th will be available to rent or buy, as well as Memory. You saw Memory with Jessica Chastain and
Skarsgård.
Peter Skarsgård.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah. The one that's not related to the other one.
I'd be curious for you to see this, but it's a hard one to add to your watch list because it's not like that great, but
I'll probably watch it.
When you get around to it, it might be an interesting conversation because it's kind of got a powerful situation like the short we just talked about in it. There's some essay in it and or allegations of sexual assault in it. We don't. Right. It's about memory. Like, does she really remember? Is she remembering the right person? Is her anger directed at the right person or not? So it's good. And I love Jessica Chastain. So
me too. That's why I love Peter Sarsgaard.
Yeah.
And then Zone of Interest, which is nominated for 5 Academy Awards, and we just talked about it won a bunch of BAFTAs. It will be out on the 23rd to rent or buy. And then The Promised Land which you saw in theaters and I've already seen as well.
Good movie.
Did we review it?
We
were going to last week. It's pretty good. It's about a man.
Yeah.
He wants to grow potatoes and he wants to be a king or a duke, I think.
A lord, duke, general, something like that. One of the old.
And he knows if he can cultivate. Yeah, and he knows if he can cultivate this land, but it goes into a lot of other territories. It sounds boring, but it's really not.
It's really good. Mads Mikkelsen kills it.
Yes. And then there's another movie, Red Right Hand, which sounds interesting. It's kind of it's Orlando Bloom and Andy McDowell. It's an action thriller. Orlando Bloom stars as a single father who lives a quiet life and whose family is threatened by a local crime boss who calls herself Big Cat. And that's played by Andy McDowell.
That'll be interesting to see her in a role like that. I think of her as frail and meek and quiet and sweet, so it'll be funny.
Exactly. Friday, February 23rd, there will be a new movie directed by Tyler Perry called Mea Culpa, a legal thriller starring Kelly Rowland. Also on Friday, Priscilla will be streaming on Max for free if you have Max. That's the movie that follows Priscilla Presley through her marriage with Elvis, starring Kaylee Spaney and Jacob Elordi as Elvis.
People like that. All the women I've talked to really liked this. I wasn't too hot on it, but yeah, listeners, if you are curious, you might like it a lot.
Yeah, it's like a 3-star, 3.5 star movie. Yeah. I think 3-star for me.
The women I've talked to really liked it, and they must be seeing something we're not. Yeah, I know. I'm glad too.
Yeah. And then on the 22nd, I just saw this. All 8 episodes of the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender will be on Netflix. It's an animated show that people really love, anime, and this is the one that M. Night Shyamalan tried to do a movie of
that like people hate.
10 years ago that was horribly panned.
Yep.
And then I just wrote here that the SAG Awards are this Sunday, so the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Yeah, I might throw it on, see what I'm doing.
Actually, we'll see.
Yeah.
So coming to theaters.
Yes,
Sunday the 25th, Dune 2 fan event is happening. So I might not be able to see SAG Awards. Well, if they're on the 24th, then I will. So people, if you're listening to this before, because I'm sure this will come out before next Sunday, you might be able to still get a ticket to Dune 2, the quote fan event, Sunday. So that night, I think, so next week I'll have my review for it before it even comes out to the public, which is exciting.
Sunday is the 24th.
Okay. All right. So Sunday the 24th is the fan event. Let me check my ticket. I'm pretty sure.
Is it? I thought it was the... Okay.
Yeah. Wait, I have Sunday the 25th on my ticket. Holy shit. Wait a minute. What? You must be wrong.
No, you don't. I thought it was the fan event was the 28th.
25th. Sunday. So you said the Sunday is the 25th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Sunday is the 25th. I'm dumb. I forget how calendars work. Okay. I forget that sometimes Sunday starts the week. Fuck.
Yep. So yeah, I'm of course so excited. We've been thinking about this since we started this podcast. We were like talking about how we love Dune. So Dune 2 is coming. Yes. It's got great reviews. I've mostly not even seen any of the trailers. Maybe that first one that came out months and months ago. So I can't wait. I'm going to see it on one of the big 70mm IMAX things that's at the Mall of Georgia. So can't wait for that.
Awesome.
Drive Away Dolls. This is Ethan Coen's movie. You've probably seen the trailer. I've seen clips. Jamie regrets her breakup with her girlfriend while Marion needs to relax. In search of a fresh start, they embark on an unexpected road trip to Tallahassee, but things quickly go awry when they cross paths with a group of inept criminals. It looks pretty fun. It has Matt Damon, Margaret Qualley, Pedro Pascal, Beanie Feldstein, who we know from not Bottoms, but the other
Trip. No,
Bookworms.
No, Booksmart.
Booksmart.
Yes.
Booksmart. Coleman Domingo, and it's directed by one of the Coen brothers. Then Ordinary Angels. I was telling Mitch before we started recording, this is showing tonight for me as a AMC Screen Unseen thing. So I have the option to see it tonight, but listen to this plot summary. Inspired by the incredible true story of a hairdresser who single-handedly rallies an entire community to help a widowed father save the life of his critically ill young daughter. It's rated PG. This doesn't sound like something that I would love. It could be good, but because it's not like holy shit amazing, I'm going to wait to see it in theaters. Tonight I'll go see Bob Marley. And then Perfect Days. That is coming out near me next weekend as well. That is, I think, nominated, Mitch, right? It's 2020, or it's a Japanese one. I think there's 2 Perfect Day movies out right now. It's got like 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. Is it nominated?
I thought it was, but I might be wrong. But anyway, it's coming out. It looks really good.
Okay.
So I will be seeing this. Trying to think if there's anybody in it. No, nobody that I recognize. So, but anyway, those are the movies that are coming out near me.
Yeah, it is nominated for an Oscar. Okay, so it's coming out.
I thought so.
Yeah. Huh,
and then
I forgot about that.
Tenet. Nolan's Tenet is being released in some theaters too. So that's next weekend as well. So look for that around, you guys. So that is it.
I've seen it twice. I don't think I need to see it again.
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw it twice in the theaters. Maybe even.
Yeah.
I saw it plenty, but I liked it a lot. It was good, but I don't need to go see it again. So that is it. We are at the end
mixed feelings. Yes. So everyone, thank you for listening. This will be up on YouTube very soon, and podcast in podcast land, wherever you listen or watch. Yeah, thank you so much. And obviously we have our Patreon, so you can go over there to patreon.com, or it's in the show notes down below if you're on listening to the podcast. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you for listening to the Hollywood Persona Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at The Hollywood Persona. Feel free to email the show at thehollywoodpersona@gmail.com and make sure to rate, share, and follow on whatever platform you're listening to our show on. It's the little things that help. Thank you.
Dog.
And you little shithead. You're
staying here. That's a good dog. Good dog.
Yeah,
he laid there the whole time.
He did. He didn't move. Compared to that other one. Remember that little one I was watching? That little bowling ball one?
Oh my gosh. You had to put him outside.